name's Guy. I'm here with Norm today. We're talking about getting great sound using your factory stereo, adding on to that. When I want to get great sound using my factory stereo, what is the best thing for me to do to get great sound, Norm?
I think everybody agrees the best value is to add an amp and a sub to start with. Sure. And no matter the music, we talked in every one of these videos, regardless of the music you like, if it's rock and roll or jazz or classical, whatever it is, there are instruments that play down low in the bass, and the factory system just isn't going to play it.
So adding a sub, it's going to give me the best bang for my buck,
right.
And I get to keep my nav, my Bluetooth, my factory-looking
right.
dash.
Absolutely.
Okay, so when adding on to a factory stereo, we've talked about some of the challenges that you're going to face. Let's just quickly touch base on that.
So we'll just summarize on the key issues. One of them is the bass roll-off from the factory. So the car manufacturer is going to create a head unit that as you turn the volume up, they're going to roll the bass off to protect the small amplifier that came from the factory and the inexpensive, poor quality speakers, and it's going to save them from distorting. The second issue is, how do I actually interface? And so people will talk about an LOC, a line output converter, and LOCs are inexpensive. They're $20 or maybe $40 for the multi-channel one, so you can fade between front and rear, but both of those are going to have a transformer in them, and the transformer rolls off bass. So why would I want to try and add bass with a device that rolls it off?
Right. And
they distort with very little input, and so you're going to get a distorted signal that rolls off the bass. It's a bad thing to do. So we talked about how AudioControl came out with the LC2i, and the LC2i overcomes those two issues. One is it'll handle up to 400 watts per channel in, and there's no factory system that has 400 watts per channel out.
So you're gonna, no distortion.
No distortion, absolutely. And then the other thing is it has circuitry in it that will automatically compensate for the roll-off of bass as you turn the volume up. This will make it so that the bass stays consistent regardless of the volume you play your music at.
Very cool.
Now we talked about a third problem, and the third problem was what happens when I want to add multiple channels of amplification and upgrade my factory speakers to better speakers in the front and the rear. This doesn't have a front-rear output, and so we talked about the LC7i having multiple ins and outs.
Right.
And then we talked about a fourth problem, and the fourth problem was that the factory the car manufacturers will equalize or adjust the frequencies coming out of the head unit in order to compensate for those crappy speakers from the factory. So they might have boosted one frequency and reduced another frequency, but with the equalizer built into the LCQ1 that we talked about, we can reverse that. And so we can get a flat response to send to our new amps and our high quality speakers that are expecting a flat response.
Very cool. So we were able to add a sub using the LC2i, we were able to add a full system using the LC7i, and we were able to get great sound no matter what, by skipping distortion, by getting the best possible outputs. What if I want the best possible musical reproduction?
Well, now we're going beyond what the factory did. And that is what we call time alignment. So the other problem with being in a car as opposed to a home theater, if you have a home theater, you're going to make it so that wherever you sit is centered on the speaker system, and so you get the best sound.
Of course.
But in a car, it's like sitting on the floor in front of the left speaker.
Right.
Because the speaker's going to come out right at my knee or right at my foot out of that door, or it's going to be right at my head out of the dash.
Yeah, and then the other one is far away.
Right. The other one is
hear the difference.
Exactly. Right. Nothing is centered.
Yeah.
So what AudioControl came out with what's called a DQ61. It takes everything that their other devices do, the LC2i with its GTO circuit and its AccuBass, no distortion, no bass roll-off, and everything in the LC7i, which was the multiple ins and outs so that we could fade or we could sum the frequencies together, and everything in the LCQ1, which added equalization to correct or reverse engineer what the factory was doing to the frequency response. And now we've added time delay. And we're going to do it in two ways. We're going to delay the left speakers so that they sound like they're as far away as the right speaker, so now you are actually centered, just like a home theater.
Very cool.
The other issue with a car is that the subwoofers tend to be way behind you. so that the sound from them doesn't arrive at our ears at the same time as the front speakers do. And so things are a little off. And in a home theater, of course, you can move the subwoofer and put it wherever you want. But it's really hard, and probably your wife wouldn't be very happy if you put the subwoofer in the front seat with you, right?
Perhaps
I mean,
not.
there's no room for her.
Right.
So the other time delay here is that we're going to time delay or delay the front speakers so that the sub will hit us at the same time. So we're going to move, not physically, but acoustically, move the speakers to the left a bit and further away from me a bit so that they all hit us at the same time. And then what you're going to hear, the difference you're going to hear, is the vocals are going to come up and be in front of you, above the steering wheel where they should be, instead of either down here in the center console sometimes, depending on the car, or down here in the left corner. We're going to get that sound to come up and be centered.
Very cool. Now, Norm, I love time alignment, always have. I think it's one of the biggest advances in car audio in a long time, but it can be a real pain to set up.
Absolutely, yeah.
So how does AudioControl do that differently? Because I don't want to dial milliseconds, I don't want to sit there and try to figure out how to do it.
And there's other devices on the market that you have to plug a computer in to adjust the time alignment. It's just crazy. So AudioControl came up with the simplest way to do this. You're going to get a control when your installer puts this in that goes up under the front dash, and that control is going to allow you to adjust how much bass. And that's great, because every song and every recording you may want to adjust for how much bass you have, right? But that same control, when you put it into time alignment adjustment mode, will allow you to, with about 3 clicks to the left, move that speaker about equal to the right. Maybe it's 4 clicks in your car, maybe it's 2 clicks. So it does it very easily. You can hear it as you make the adjustment. And then you're going to adjust the front speakers further away from you so the sub comes into alignment, and you just do that by clicking it the other way, and you're done. Take it out of time alignment adjustment mode, and you're back to that same control will now adjust the sub.
Very cool. So your installer is going to be able to do that
instantly, yeah. And you can push that off and on, and you will hear the difference that this thing makes, and you'll be blown away.
Yeah, amazing piece. I love AudioControl. They make a very, very good quality product. If you're adding on to your factory stereo and you want great sound, this is going to be one of the killer pieces that's going to allow you to get that sound, get the sound stage to sound great, get it to be equalized, and do it in a fashion that's nice and easy to use.
Absolutely.
What a cool piece. The DQ61 by AudioControl.